Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Firefighters Podcast, where we seek to develop, inspire, and motivate the world of the emergency services operator through a series of wide-ranging conversations. Now, before we go any further, just hit that rate, follow, or subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening to. It's a key performance indicator for us and helps us reach even more people. Now, here's what we've got for you today.
If you could give your less experienced self some advice about what would that be?
Yeah, great question. So two things. First thing I would say is being different is bloody fantastic. And secondly, when you get told something's impossible, reframe that word because actually it spells I'm possible.
For me, it would kind of be quite simple, and that's be yourself. Just be authentic, just be you.
I think sometimes you just got to throw yourself at it and know that you might fail, but just go for it. And I think I'd like to tell myself it'll work out in the end.
Oh God, I wish I'd told myself some of this stuff earlier. So two things. The first one is, do not hide your light under a bushel. You don't have to apologise for being you, and you should not be less brilliant. So if you've got that light, don't stick it under something, stick it in a candlestick, right, and light the way for other people. The second thing I would say is, when we're starting out on our careers, whoever we are, whatever genre or sector we're working in, we will always have an opportunity to be kind and to help other people. And pay it forward is a really important strategy to live by. So do others a favour, because actually they will pay it forward and it will make for a better working environment.
I think the main thing is don't waste energy trying to please other people, because you're just wasting a lot of time trying to please other people when really you should be trying to please yourself and be yourself, be who you want to be. The fire service is a far richer place for all the unique people in this room, whoever you are and whatever you are. So, be yourselves and don't sit there waiting until you're good enough, because you'll always be waiting for something else. And anybody that knows me, put your big girl pants on and do it anyway. So that's what I say. Thank you.
I suppose for me, genuinely coming from a background of having no desire whatsoever to go for promotion, the fact that, I echo the sentiments, you will never be ready. Do not ever think I'm going to be ready and now is the perfect time, because you're going to be waiting a long time, because we're not ready and we're all going to make mistakes. And what I would say is, be proud of your mistakes, own up to them, share them with people, be honest, because people will like you far better for being a human being, being an honest and decent human being, and being a kind, honest and decent human being. And I think that's one thing I have tried to be forever, was to be myself and be kind, because it costs nothing to be kind, but what you don't always appreciate is how much difference you can make to somebody's day just by being decent and by being kind. And do that consistently throughout your career, and it will take you a long way. But don't ever look and wait for that moment that you're going to step into and think, now's the moment, now's the perfect moment. Because it never is. It's always uncomfortable, it's always scary. But do you know what? We are brilliant people and we can achieve brilliant things. So sometimes just go for it. And if you fall, get up and learn the lesson, dust yourself off and give it another go, because we're all designed to make mistakes and learn from them. But we learn the most from our mistakes, and actually from sharing those mistakes and not allowing other people to do them and helping other people on the way.
Okay, on to the next question, and this is from Jane Lingard from West York, so thank you, Jane. What advice would you give to anyone aspiring to be a principal officer?
So I'm probably not the best person to ask because it didn't go quite as well as I would like it to have gone, especially at the end. But do you know, if you want to do it, then believe you can do it. Do it being yourself. Do not be somebody else. Be your true self. Go for promotion. And my view was, I went for it being myself and being honest. And if they didn't give me the job, then I couldn't be myself in that job and I wouldn't have wanted it. So that would be, a principal officer is a great job. It comes with a lot of responsibility, it comes with some scary bits, it comes with some rubbish bits. but it also comes with some massive privilege and some massive, moments where you can be hugely proud. So if you want to do it, go for it, be the best you can be, but be yourself while you're doing it.
So Dawn, what obstacles have you had to overcome progressing in the fire service as a female? Maybe just summarise.
Only got an hour, Dawn. Top strip.
So, have you read my book? No. This year is my 18th year in the Fire and Rescue Service, and before that, I was a commercial manager in the private sector, and I've also run 2 charities. What I would say about obstacles is, if you see something as an obstacle, it is. So, reframe, barriers are things that are challenges to push away. What I would say is that I started, and for those of you that don't know, I started as a direct entrant quite a lot of years ago, and it wasn't particularly popular then, and I'm not sure if it is now, to be frank with you. But at the end of the day, I had to come in to what was extensively 18 years ago, obviously a male service, and also one that hadn't really done much in terms of alternative leadership pathways. But I knew that I had frankly a bloody good commercial background, a very strong background in terms of training of leadership with the John Lewis Partnership. And for me, it was about seeing those genuinely, and I know this sounds a bit trite, but seeing obstacles as opportunities, because otherwise I wouldn't have joined the Fire and Rescue Service. The other thing I would just say is be prepared, be realistic. There's stuff that's going to come your way when you take on a job like this, whether it's financial, political, industrial relations, shite, or other sort of things that is going to happen. And to be honest, just get prepared, be real with it, talk to people, listen to other people. I've got some fantastic colleagues up here, and they have helped me in my journey in the Fire and Rescue Service and helped turn those barriers into things you can just snip with a sharp pair of scissors.
A quick reminder for all of our listeners of our monthly giveaway. Now, as part of our partnership with Hikes, Rosenbauer and Tallyman, we give away that little bit extra to our podcast listeners every single month. You can get 2 personalised BA tallies. These are hardware and they've got your own name on them, they've got your own service number on them, and they have the podcast logo on the back. And then for the juicy stuff, Hikes give away a pair of their incredible footwear. And some of the stuff is pretty expensive stuff, to be honest with you. We try and switch it and change it every month. We are guided by the gods of Hikes to make sure we are giving you exactly what you need for that time of year. So it might be boots, it might be trainers, and then once every quarter our good friends over at Rosenbauer are giving away their Boris B5 Firefighting boots as well. So to be in with a chance to win, jump over to our social media platforms or YouTube, where you need to tag a member of the emergency services in the post, be following our page, and you will be in with a chance to win at the end of every single month. Back to the show.
Have you ever had imposter syndrome as you've gone through promotion, and any tips on how to deal with it?
Yeah, I think everybody does. I even said tonight, I'm going to be up there with real chiefs. I think everybody does, and when you go to that interview, that assessment centre, and you're looking at all the other candidates, and they look so much better prepared than you are, and they're thinking exactly the same thing, and you have to realise that you can't see what's going on inside their heads, and they might look absolutely perfect, but they're not. They're just like you are, and you just give it your best shot, and if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. So yeah, I think I don't suppose there's one person in this room who'd say they haven't encountered imposter syndrome, and if you haven't, put your arm up now. Yeah, because it's just part of promoting and moving on in any organisation.
What's the funniest mistake you've ever made, and how did you dig yourself out of the mess you created?
I wouldn't necessarily say it was a mistake, but it was quite funny. So there was we had a bit of a job going on in St Ives, and there was a bit of a gas leak, and that was kind of accelerating the fire.
So I turned around to the incident commander at the time, so I didn't just come on the scene. I said, look, we need to get the gas isolated. And he's like, oh right, yeah, okay, I'll get that done for you, boss. No problem at all. Brilliant. So went around, did a bit of like situational awareness. Thought to myself, oh, goodness me, going to be here for a while, aren't we? Had a little bit of a look around, came back. Gas leak was still, it was still going. It was like literally like a jet going through the roof. For those of you that know St Ives, it's got a common roof void. If one goes, they all go. It's really quite difficult. Pasties go, fish and chips, potted cream. It's dreadful. And I said to him, "Can you not get the gas turned off?" Well, I can't really because the gas people weren't so worried about the roof tiles coming off. So I was like, "Oh, okay, fine. That's fine. I'll just crack in." Sort out the gas leak, it'll be fine. Or it'd be like £6 million to dig up the road. I don't want to dig up the road, I just want to go in, turn off the gas, job done. So I popped around the corner and the gas company was there and I was like, oh, all right. It's like, yeah. It's like, oh, could you go and turn the gas off? I don't know, so difficult. So I'll tell you what, I'll whip round, I'll get you a pot noodle. And we've got a really great welfare wagon, by the way. I'll whip over, I'll get you a bad boy pot noodle and a cup of tea. Can you turn the gas off? All right, we'll do that. Whip round, got pot noodle and a couple of bad boys. Kind of like, gave them, oh, thanks so much, great. Went back to the incident command unit. And the kind of the incident commander at the time went, how on earth did you manage that? And I said, it's just about establishing a relationship, having a conversation. Kind of having a conversation about risk. A conversation about consequence. Coming out with joint situational awareness and an action plan. Thank you very much.
If you could go back in time and change one thing throughout your career, what would it be and why?
Just one thing.
Yeah.
So, did I or didn't I move off a fire station quick enough? So I joined a watch at Dunstable and I was on the watch back in the days when you had to do probationary and qualified exams. So generally, you'd wait until maybe about 6 to 8 years before you'd move into another area of the business. And I moved into training centre after about 7 years. And actually, that was the biggest stretch that I had, moving into a different environment. I think after about 3 to 4 years, my brain wasn't really being stretched enough, and you know what they say about idle hands. So I think it's about timing and stretch. So for me, I think I would have potentially aimed to move slightly quicker into training school. I wouldn't have had the motorbike accident that caused the duty officer, who happened to be the training centre manager, come out to the hospital, who then didn't know how to deal with welfare, and so his first question was, when are you going to come and work for me in training school? I wouldn't have had that happen, but yeah, I think it's that. It's about knowing when is the time to move, and understanding that sometimes being comfortable in a place is not always what's going to stretch or challenge you to the most.
So I'm going to ask all of our chiefs that question.
I think I'd have been a lot firmer with my first watch when I became a leading firefighter. And that's probably where a couple of things that happened the first time. You do want people to like you, and you could do that by being yourself. But I probably tried that a little bit too hard. I knew I'd kind of not been stitched up at all, but there were not a lot of people that would have probably accepted the watch that I got offered as a temporary promotion. But as Dawn said, you've got to take everything as an opportunity. And I look back now and think I wish I'd gone in there as probably myself, and gone in there and just, if I'd gone back now, I would have done that differently, absolutely. And the pivotal moment for me, and this is when I had been on the watch for probably about 3 or 4 months, and we'd gone to an incident, and it was something as simple as, it was a kitchen fire, got out, and I did like a little thing, this is what we need, and this is kind of what we want, moderate thing of a SMEAC kind of briefing. And I just remember turning around, and they were going to take a dry powder into the kind of kitchen. for a grill pan fire. And I was like, I found my voice, shouted like, rest! Just what are you doing? Dry potables? No, like literally CO2. In they went, came out, we debriefed after, and I went like, these people want a kitchen after the end of this. Do you know what I mean? It's only a grill pan fire, goodness sake. And they said, oh, you're a good call, boss, good call. But I wish, I kind of, from then on, I was in charge. I got my voice, and I was making the calls. And I think if I could have gone back, I would have replayed that. I would have gone in there with my grill pan fire and my dry powder versus the CO2. I would have gone in with that attitude of, I'm in charge, this is me, and own that really.
I think I should have learnt to challenge sooner, and I think it's really important that whoever you're working with, however clever they might seem, if they're doing the wrong thing, you challenge. Rather a ridiculous example was, I came down to the Fire Service College with the chief I was working with at the time, and he leapt in the car, having just come back from France, and decided to drive on the wrong side of the road. And I'm sitting in the car next to him thinking, should I tell him? Would it be rude if I tell him? Perhaps I should. In the end, I screamed at him to tell him. So, yeah, find your voice.
How have you managed with childcare while you progressed through your career?
So when I had my daughter, I just got flexi station manager, so it was an absolute nightmare because my husband went to work for 6:30 in the morning, and when I was on call overnight, so I managed it through paying the nursery extra to open early, and I would go and sit with my daughter at the nursery till they officially opened, and if I got a fire call, they'd look after her. And my mother-in-law used to finish work earlier, so she would pick her up from nursery. And when I came down here, when she was 8 months old, they offered to open one of the houses up for me, but it wasn't possible in the end. So I had to be away from her for 3 weeks, apart from at weekends. So it was crap, and it was expensive. So it was really difficult, and I think it was Dawn said about, spending time, and one of the things about retirement is I've committed to spending a bit more time with my daughter, particularly while she's doing her studies, because I've not been there ever so much. So it's important, but really difficult. And I said to Kaz on the way down, I'm going to open a nursery now I'm retired for emergency services workers who work shifts who can't get the cover. That's a joke.
So I have been asked this a lot in my career, both in my services and from colleagues from around the sector actually, partly because they knew when I was promoted that I'd got a lot of them, and some of them are by birth and some of them are acquired through, through other relationships, shall we say. So I've got stepkids and I've got, ones I birthed, and how did we manage it? A bit like Alex, really, it was really hard, and I worked for John Lewis's department stores for a lot of years, and that was the same sort of hour pattern. So I was working every weekend, there were no weekends off at all, especially when Sunday trading came in. And so I had a combination of nursery, which was really expensive, and then we had no family near us at all. My parents' farm in South Wales, and my husband's were away in another part of the country as well. So we kind of had to beg, borrow, steal, plea, rely on friends a little bit, abandon. Did a bit of abandoning. And also I found a fantastic lady called Ruxana, who was a Hindu lady and who did the childminding on a Saturday for me in Milton Keynes actually, And Ruxana exposed our 3 youngest to a different culture. They went to weddings with her family on a Saturday. They ate all sorts of stuff. I had some nappies after those parties, I can tell you. But it was fantastic because, you know, I started out with a guilt complex the size of you don't know what. And then, as I reflect back, it's easy to reflect back and think it was all right, wasn't it? But some of the opportunities the kids got were great. But I felt guilt, and I felt loss, and, you know, I know that Dad went to some of the stuff and missed out some of the stuff. And, you know, when you're watching your kid's first Christmas concert on a video that's been filmed and you've had to persuade one of your mates to film it because you can't be there, that's pants. So hence my earlier comment. But what I would say about my kids, because I can, the youngest is now 23. Yeah, go look, yeah. L'Oreal face cream. And my youngest son is at Sandhurst, he's in the military. One of our daughters is a lawyer, another's a psychologist, one is a critical care paramedic, and the other's an IT consultant. I'm immensely proud of them. What they learned from me and their dad was work ethic. Graft, work hard, make sacrifices, and, you know, at the end of the day, they did have opportunities that some other kids didn't have, but I will never lose the sense of loss I had, hence my earlier comment. Give yourself, and if your managers aren't giving you that freedom, go and demand it.
We have 3 daughters, and in the early days it was just spending a fortune on childminder. And then when I moved to North Wales, the family stayed up in Cumbria, and so I camped out during the week and used to drive the 3.5 hours back up to Cumbria at the weekends. I couldn't have done it if my husband hadn't given up his career to bring up our daughters. So, you know, we completely flipped traditional roles, and I say I would never have been able to do it without him.
If you can talk to us a little bit about some of the failures you've experienced, and more importantly, how you dealt with them.
Don't ever think of anything as a failure. You know, genuinely, it feels like a kick in the guts at the time, but you have to kind of look at it as a learning experience. And what I will share with you is there was only actually one promotion that I've had, and that includes getting into the fire service, where somebody hasn't, to my face, said to me, well, you've only got that because you're a woman. And I would also say my most recent promotion to chief was not that particular promotion. So what I would say is what I've heard, or what would I say, you know, what can you learn from this, or what have I learned from it? It's the fact that you're the person that it kind of matters to. It genuinely doesn't matter to anybody else. You've really got to go for something, and like we've already said, you will never ever think that the time is right. Go for it. Go into that as prepared as you can be. What I would say is you've got a whole room full of people here today that will help you prepare for these opportunities. And the one thing that I would say is in when I first came here, I was a temporary station manager, and I did come here thinking, what on earth could I come to WFS for? You know, what can I give to WFS? And 7 years later, I became Chief Fire Officer. And what I would say is my promotions that I've had since coming here, yes, I've gone for those promotions with my learning, with my preparation, knowing that it's something that I wanted to do. But I've gone, especially for my chief's promotion, going, do you know what? I've got every single woman in the fire and rescue service sat on my shoulder cheering for me. Take that away from this weekend. I also heard Alex and Danny going, you better bloody get it.
What's the worst piece of advice you've ever been given at work?
I think the worst piece of advice I was ever given was, if you behave like everybody else, you'll do all right. And that's just crap. Because what that means is you conform and you become the same as that person over there, rather than bringing what makes you unique into the workplace. So, yeah, absolutely. What a rubbish bit of advice that was. And it took me probably 4 or 5 years to realise it was rubbish advice, because actually it was much more comfortable being the same as all those people over there. It was much easier not to put your head above the parapet and be the one that was saying, maybe we shouldn't do it like that. Maybe we should have fire kit that fits women. It was much easier not to say that, because you just got a load of stuff thrown at you. So that, I think that would be it.
What's your favourite quote?
I suppose my favourite one is put your big girl or boy pants on. But if you can see it, you can be it. And, you know, I look around the room and, you know, we used to be so many tables back. And now, you know, we're almost in the Twin Towers room and we've got a waiting list of people. And I think that's because people are starting to see that they can be it. And that makes me really proud. So if you can see it, you can be it.
So mine would be, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. So we have to make change. We can't just stay on a treadmill of the same thing over and over again, thinking it's going to fix all the challenges that we've got. So we have to be brave and we have to be bold and do stuff differently.
Do you have a motto for life?
For me, what's kind of made me probably as the person I am is really feeling able to express myself and able to be myself, to be excited.
Don't waste tomorrow for your expectations of yesterday. So just make today count.
Short and brief, my one is just be kind. We've all got the opportunity to be kind to each other, and it doesn't cost us anything, so take time and be kind.
Thanks for coming back and listening to the Firefighters Podcast. This one was brought to you by William Wood Watches. William Wood Watches, as I'm sure you're already aware, are the makers of those incredibly authentic watches with a piece of firefighting history in every single one. On the 9th of June, they created 250 beautiful limited edition pieces of the bravest watch for the FDNY Foundation. They're donating 15% from every single watch to the FDNY Foundation, and it's pretty incredible to see that William Wood Watches are now in the Rockefeller Center, the FDNY Fire Zone store that's held within Rockefeller Center. On the 9th of June, they will be having one of their watches, which is going to press William Wood Watches into the history of FDNY. Johnny and the team are over there kicking ass and taking names. Be sure to join them on their journey. Head over to williamwoodwatches.com, check them out on Instagram, check them out on YouTube. You can check all of their watches right there, from the Jubilee to the Triumph to the Valium to the Bronze to the Chivalrous, and they run competitions supporting firefighters charities all over the world, including the firefighters charity in the UK. So once again, thanks for coming back to the Firefighters Podcast. Go and check out William Wood Watches. Go and check us out on YouTube. Subscribe if you're listening on Spotify, if you're listening on one of those platforms. Follow us, rate us. Thanks for coming back, and we look forward to seeing you again real soon right here on the Firefighters Podcast.